All right, everybody, if you're tuning in, this is the Gool Boys podcast, episode 1. Joining me, I have my co-host, Denny Atkinson.
What's up,
And we're,
fellas?
and we're pretty much here to touch on everything from sports to television and entertainment, movies, and current events, and how they affect us. And so we had some time during quarantine to sort of make this, and so we thought, why not, and see where it takes us. Joining us later in the episode, we're going to have a close friend as a special guest. We'll announce him later, so stay tuned for that.
Big time guest coming later. So we're gonna kind of get started a little bit. Cool thing we noticed real quick in quarantine was out in Singapore. They've created these robotic dogs that are kind of checking on people's social distancing and making sure they're quarantining. Chris, you want to talk about that a little more?
Yeah, I mean, this is where, this is where things sort of scare me. But, in Singapore, they're noticing, like in many places in the United States, like New York, California, places are really overcrowded. And so to combat social distancing, they've created these electronic dogs. I shit you not, electronic dogs that are going out and
It's Russia, dude. It's Russia.
Educating the people on the dangers of not social distancing. In addition to that, supposedly the dogs can surveil crowds and they have the capability to count the amount of people in an area, and they can actually warn people that there's too many people within a certain vicinity. At this point, I almost think we're wasting money on that because, if the places are overcrowded, as is, if we look at history as well, nobody's listening to these rules. It's unfortunate, but I don't know. Electronic dogs.
What's next? Like, what the hell's next?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's very cool that students in Boston were able to, manufacture this kind of technology. But
yeah, shout out Boston. That's a sneak peek to our guest coming up later.
Yeah, little clue, little sneak peek.
Fuck the Pats, though. Fuck the Pats.
And so
another place we like to say fuck to is Staten Island.
Yeah.
The new movie coming out with your boy, Chris's boy, Pete Davidson.
I don't know. I wouldn't say
King of Staten Island,
but
I
will say that Judd Apatow has created some incredible comedy flicks over the years. I think his writing is pretty incredible, and Pete Davidson, rising star, SNL.
Yeah. I mean, did you see that thing the other week? Him and Adam Sandler did that little song about quarantine. Shit was hilarious.
Yeah, and it was supposedly sort of not a jab, but a parody at Drake's Tootsie Slide, how he recorded the music video in his home. A lot of people thought it was way too braggadocious. I don't really care. But the song is just absolute trash.
Drake sucks.
Which kind of brings us into this new Drake mixtape that dropped. What is it? Dark Lane demo tapes. What do you think about that, Denny?
First time I heard the name, I was like, what the fuck is this? But I mean, it's always exciting when you hear a guy of Drake's caliber drop it was kind of unexpected. So, I mean, but it's, again, obviously not my favorite Drake album. So Chris, what do you think actually happened? I know it's been getting a lot of critics have been kind of in the middle on this, and it's not really an album, I guess it's more of a mixtape, right?
Right. So, I mean, ahead of time, I wasn't expecting something great because, he announced that these were songs that didn't make his album that's coming out this summer. But I also think, he's still charging $11 for the tape. And I just think, when everything becomes a cash grab, I mean, this guy makes so much money a year. Yeah. I think people lose more respect when everything becomes about money to artists. I mean, I get it. You know what I mean? But he's not struggling at all. So why is he putting out subpar songs and charging as much as he would for a full-length album?
I mean, he's Drake. Like, he's pretty much just saying, I can do whatever the fuck I want. You know what I mean?
Drake. I mean, there's certain accolades. Something I heard the other day I was reading, that since his first single in 2009, there hasn't been a single day since 2009 that he hasn't been on the Billboard Top 200 charts. Single day. He has more number ones than the Beatles.
I mean,
astonishing, right? But again, why then that should mean, he shouldn't be releasing at this point poor quality stuff, in my opinion.
Yeah,
He doesn't have to release anything, in my opinion.
he could stop right now and be one of the greatest rappers of
He
all
could
time.
stop right now, pursue his acting career.
Yeah, yeah,
Look
back to
really,
Degrassi days.
So, to sort of conclude on this, I look forward to the album this summer. This is really a make it or break it moment for him as far as releasing music.
But I
I
will say
swear,
Drake's summer albums, though, bro.
Another bad album.
Drake's summer albums are always fire, though. Drake's summer albums. There's always some summer jam that he has.
Sure. I mean,
hopefully we can experience at a bar.
Scorpion, his last album was torn apart. I love it just because I'm not expecting amazing material, but I am expecting songs that you can just listen to every time you're drinking.
Yeah,
or,
that's a good point.
At the beach or something.
Can't expect Take Care every time.
No, you can't.
Or ever.
But speaking of quality work, it's been a drought recently, and I think it's time we hear something from Kendrick. I mean,
the fucking GOAT, bro. The GOAT.
I'm 25 now, and the last time Kendrick dropped an album was on my 21st birthday. So, it's been a minute. He hasn't ever waited this long on any album to drop. So, I obviously have a lot of anticipation for this.
But what Kendrick always does well is he waits and he prepares well, and then I mean, I don't know the exact.
His track record's unmatched. I get what
amount
you're
of
saying.
time between. I mean, Pimp a Butterfly is 2015, Damn was 2017. But you're looking at a year, and then from Good Kid, Mad City 3 years, and then another 2 years. So I mean, he takes time between albums. Unlike Drake, who just kind of drops shit.
Nobody's really upset about it. I'm just yearning for an album that I can finally replay. Play on repeat. So
yeah. I feel you. I mean,
we shall see.
We saw how great he was in that concert, bro.
Oh my God, yeah.
Fucking awesome.
That was fucking crazy.
Yeah, so hopefully we're looking forward to that Kendrick album at some point. He didn't give a date yet, though, right?
No, there's no date. He sort of had this.
You got that website, yeah.
Right. So he's starting sort of what he's calling a publishing company, which is pretty interesting. I had sworn at first when I saw the trailer that was a trailer for the new album, which I was, very, very excited about. But what's interesting is we haven't heard much about this publishing website since at all. So who knows if that has anything to do with the album or not, but I guess we can only wait and see.
He's a thoughtful guy. He always comes through.
Yes, sir.
So we're going to also get into a little bit of TV shows. I know we mentioned that from the top, but we're going to bring in our guest now, right? We're going to bring in our guest.
Yes.
So a Bostonian right now, right, Chris?
He's a current Bostonian, but he grew up.
It's a fucking shame.
He grew up as a neighbor. One of our closest friends from childhood is Cameron Mondock, and he's here to talk to us about his current situation in quarantine and give us some takes on entertainment and sports. So, Cam, welcome.
Welcome, brother.
Gentlemen, how are we?
Doing well, brother.
Pleasure to be here. Pleasure to be on the pod. I actually just drove back last night from Cambridge back to Lancaster. Got in just before midnight. One of my favorite pastimes when I do come home is I do a lot of travel back and forth, as you know, is putting the windows down, driving off 283 there, getting that smell of Lancaster County.
Oh, yeah. Nothing like it, man.
So.
Nothing like air, it, bro.
It's a one of a kind. It really is.
Purest air in America.
The pure air.
And I'm hanging in there, guys. I'm doing as good as I can right now with COVID. Couple of big changes in my life. I wouldn't call them changes, but changes that I've had to make more so. In regards to the casino closing up there, Encore, product of the Wynn family. Kind of my second home, only 2 miles away from my home base in Cambridge there. I spent a lot of time grinding the 1-3 poker tables and the tournaments that they have. And I've kind of supplemented that with Call of Duty Modern Warfare's Warzone installment. It's actually been It's been absolutely necessary to
It
kind of
has
get me through the days. I mean,
it
I
has
play
saved
probably 4 to 5
quarantine.
hours a day some days, and
Yeah,
I got win
easily.
counts going with my buddies, and it helps me stay competitive during this time where it's kind of hard to keep that edge, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. I was just gonna say, Warzone has been huge for me as well. We play a lot together, but
Oh yeah.
there's nothing. It's like adult Fortnite. It's everything improved that you hated about Fortnite in the same kind of realm. And yes, sir. We even got Denny playing for
Yeah,
a
I
little
don't think
bit.
I've touched a video game in about 7 years, and I even got on Warzone for a little bit till my mic broke. But
That's
it
right.
might be back. Watch out. I think I had a few kills and
Let's
maybe a win, but
let's talk about Ozark. That seems to be the big talk right now as far as entertainment goes.
yeah,
Um, man, Jason Bateman. This is a
incredible.
guy. This is a guy that used to be on teenage comedy shows in the late '80s,
Yep.
and eventually sort of dropped off throughout the '90s, and then sort of resurged in the early 2000s. Doing some kind of like rom-coms and some comedies. But man, I mean, at this point, he's winning Emmys and Golden Globes, and just it's incredible to see what he's doing. He's working triple duty. He's starring, directing, writing, and the show is really a hit. So I know you've been watching the seasons pretty closely here. I haven't caught up on the most recent season yet, Denny.
Yeah, I mean, I just started it during quarantine, and I'm about halfway through season 2. I took about a week off, but hopefully I can get an episode back in day. But yeah, I mean, he's great. I mean, the fact that he's doing 3 jobs with this, and it's such an interesting show that it's really taken off, I think, in quarantine once people realized how great of a show it was. And I mean, I never thought he would be in some type of show like this. I always remember him from Horrible Bosses.
Yeah,
But so like to see him in this type of show is great. And from what I've heard, there's gonna be a 4th season because apparently it ended in a cliffhanger, but I'm not really sure if that's true or not.
spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert alert.
Um,
Yeah, so I mean, there's other when you're in quarantine stuck inside, there's nothing better than Friends, Seinfeld, The Office. I mean, there's just those
yeah.
shows that
These are shows that
never.
have just incredible replay value, and I
Yep.
think I mean, man, even in college, like I just would watch Friends all the time.
Yeah.
It's just kind of a pick me up, but it's also just hilarious, and the characters are just so lovable.
Yeah. So Cameron, what have you
And
been watching throughout this?
Yeah, so I've been watching a lot of YouTube actually, studying up on my poker game by watching vlogs, watching live sessions.
that's how you got to get it done.
Where are the live
Yeah, you
sessions
gotta
at, dude?
improve. You
Oh, like
gotta
apps?
improve.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, no, what the scene really is today is live poker players are starting to have the ability to go to some casinos. The MGM properties are the most likely to allow this, to go to these casinos, play poker, and record at the table.
Okay.
So they have a video camera that's right on the table behind their hole cards. So they'll show themselves peeling the cards, which is cool because kind of gives that viewer the feeling like they're playing themselves.
Mm-hmm.
But you also see the chip stacks at the table and kind of get the better feel for what's going on in the game. So that's kind of how I study poker. One of the ways I study. I have numerous different components, books, go through hands, discussing with friends and such. But what else I've been watching? I really like The Outsider on HBO. I'm a big HBO
Mm.
guy. I love most of the things that they put out. But I mean, how much of a bummer was it? Speaking of Bateman, that they killed him off there in the second episode. I mean, spoiler, but
Yeah,
show's been out a while. But just a huge bummer for me watching that particular series. I mean, I was definitely in it till the end, but had Bateman been in further episodes, I think it could have been a little bit more of a hit for me.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. I agree. I mean, I thought that it had a promising start, and I was almost kind of like really caught off guard by him getting killed off so early. Kind of took away some interest for me, but to each his own. A lot of people love the show, and I think it's great that HBO has been able to have such longevity in their success. And there's so many new shows coming out. I can't even keep track
Crazy.
anymore. I mean, it's
And
almost
I'm a huge
overwhelming.
TV guy too, but it's like you can't do it all. You got to pick
No,
and choose.
you gotta make
Really.
sacrifices. There's always something that someone's recommending to you, and
I'm
you're like, how the
telling
hell am
you.
I gonna fit that in?
I mean, I recently got Hulu, and it's like I'd be 15 minutes in the one episode and see the recommendations on the side, and I would just have to like click halfway through episode. It was terrible.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so,
For the folks out there, the viewers out there, the listeners out there that are Bachelor fans and that get excited whether it's Bachelor or Bachelorette
oh
season,
my
Here we
Lord.
go.
that's me. You may not know, but I'm a big fan myself. And right now there's a show out, Listen to Your Heart, I think it's called.
Get the
I'm pretty
fuck
sure.
out of
Correct me
here.
if I'm wrong.
So yeah, and
But
they
it's basically
incorporate.
The Bachelor, but a little bit more like the Paradise component, and it's about multiple couples getting together throughout the show and kind of coming together musically as well. And I mean, to be honest with you, it's filled that void. It's been pretty entertaining. It's a Monday night show for 2 hours. I get off Warzone and get to do something different during the week.
Yeah.
We'll be sure to watch that next week.
Well, who
What's it
knows?
on,
I
Cam?
mean,
On TV?
there's a vast.
Monday nights, 8 to 10 p.m.
Yeah, good to know.
ABC?
And
That's
also,
correct.
yeah, it's really been a while since I've watched anything on cable. To be honest, I don't know. I just think there's so many other options.
Yeah, there's so
But
many services, and anything that's on cable is pretty much on a streaming
Right.
service right
Right.
afterwards. So, Cam, you been watching any of the Jordan documentaries?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I'm
On the
all
board?
caught up on that. Any opportunity like that to watch something, sports related that's quality content, I'm going to be taking part. And I've definitely picked up a few things too that I didn't know about those 90s teams, some of the pop culture themes going on at the time with Rodman and Carmen Electra.
Oh,
Yeah, a lot of really cool topics that have come up throughout it that have been like, okay, now I got to do a Wikipedia search, which has been cool. But yeah,
Wikipedia.
I'm excited to see how they wrap it up over the next 4 episodes here.
yeah. I mean, you always heard Jordan was competitive, and then you watch shit like this, and you're like, this guy's just on a different level. It's like almost non-human. You know what I mean?
Yeah, don't want to get into the discussion, but
No.
better than LeBron.
All right, so let's kind of turn the table here to sports real quick. So there was some good news for you sports fans out there. Fucking KBO, Korean baseball, has been shown live on ESPN in the middle of the night. Which, if you guys, I know for me, I actually caught a little bit of a game during the. I know Cameron and Chris hate baseball, but
Yeah, he's receiving the thumbs down right now.
Actually caught a little bit of a game. It was pretty cool to see some live baseball. They're actually doing a real broadcast for ESPN. So whoever the hell was doing it, Buster Olney. I don't think Chris knows any of these people, but
I don't.
it was pretty cool to see live sports. But the main thing that happened this week was release of the NFL schedule last week at 8:00.
Mm-hmm.
I know, Cameron, what you think of that? Did you watch any of the 3-hour special they had on ESPN?
So yeah, I mean, I didn't actually get a chance to watch.
Oh, you were driving back,
because
yeah.
I was driving back, but I stopped at a service station around 9:00. Got some Burger King because if you didn't know, Burger King is the only restaurant on the highways in both Jersey and PA that is open right now for service,
That
for
fucking
food at
blows.
least. Yeah, it stinks.
That's
But I
rough.
checked Twitter when I was in line at Burger King and saw some of the highlights of the schedule. I think one of the first things that I saw that caught my eye was about opening weekend. And the game specifically was the Buccaneers and the Saints getting together on Sunday afternoon that first weekend.
Yeah,
And
I
we're
saw
gonna get
that.
to see we're gonna get to see Brady and the new Brady bunch take on Drew Brees. A Super Bowl matchup that a lot of us have been looking forward to, but haven't seen, and
Yep.
probably won't see at this point. But we'll get to see them battle in Week 1, and I think a lot of Tom's new weapons will be at his disposal right away. Excited to see the type of fantasy numbers that team and that offense can put up this year. It's going to be really amazing.
Yeah, I mean that divisions will be interesting too, and it's really gonna start with a bang with Saints and Bucks. Chris, how do you feel about your boy Brady going down to Tampa?
I'll let him go wherever he so desires. It's tough not seeing him in New England, obviously, but
Yeah.
seeing him join up with Gronk again is, it's entertainment. It's fun. It's what makes us tune in.
Yeah.
And
It'll be interesting to see him in just a different uniform. Yeah, I mean.
right. Yeah, I mean, it's something I never thought I'd see, to be honest. I mean, I
Yeah.
would have thought he might have retired even 2 years ago. But yeah, it's great to see him still going. Incredible shape.
Fucking Gronk back too.
He has that
Well,
fitness.
Chris, I mean, did you ever get a chance to listen to the Stern interview with Brady?
No, I didn't.
So, like, one of the biggest takeaways there is, I feel like, and a lot of people I listen to feel the same way. Brady didn't want to leave. He
Yeah.
didn't want to leave, but
Mhm.
they were kind of giving him a bad deal with, projected salary moving forward for this upcoming year.
Right, right.
Not adding any weapons to, his arsenal, which, given that he's going up in age, he really needs to have those weapons around. I mean, you look at Peyton Manning that last year before he hurt his neck in Indy, he didn't have a lot of weapons really. I mean, you had an aging Reggie Wayne, and that was about it.
Harrison was out already.
Yeah, I mean, you take a look at New England's offense, their depth chart last year, and his guy is there, Julian Edelman, yeah. But other than that,
That's
he's just
it.
got a bunch of scrapbacks that he's throwing the ball out of the backfield.
Mhm.
He doesn't have the tight ends crossing the field anymore to get big first downs. He has to think about himself, his own legacy, winning more, which is obviously his number one priority. And that's why he left. I mean, he felt like not empowered anymore by his coaching staff, his organization. I don't blame him at all for leaving.
Right.
I'm actually excited to see what he can do down there, and how his anger or revenge kind of comes out through facing these other opponents, and it's going to be exciting.
Yeah, I think he's
I
going to play
agree.
pissed off. He's going to play pissed off for sure. And you don't want to those guys like him. You don't want to piss him off. Yeah, I mean, he gets that Brady look on him. He's gonna fucking win the game.
Yeah, and I mean, they just gave him a new right tackle in the draft out of Iowa, Wirfs. They picked up a back in the 4th round out of Vanderbilt who had a freakish junior season in college, Deshaun Vaughn. He can do both the run game and do things in the passing game as well. He's really the type of back that kind of fits that offense right now.
And they their wide receivers and weapons are incredible.
And then tight end, I mean, you got Gronk coming back, but then people forget they got a first-round talent out of Alabama still on the roster. We'll see what happens. But then also the tight end out of Harvard, Cameron Brate, who's perfect.
I saw that.
Tight end for Tom Brady, that red zone threat. I wouldn't be surprised if, Rob and Brate combined for close to 20 touchdown receptions this year.
Yeah. And you got Godwin and Evans on the outside. I mean, that right there is one of the best 1-2 wideout combos in the league. So yeah, we'll definitely see. I mean, I'm hyped for the season. Let's hope everything works out. So we got a little we got Chris.
I was gonna say let's hope that this can
gives
start
us
on
hope,
schedule.
Though. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Seriously.
So we got some over-unders by DraftKings released today for the season.
Oh, they were released already?
Yeah. DraftKings just released them this afternoon. First one I'm gonna look at, we'll stick with Brady and the boys down in Tampa Bay. Over under 10 wins. I was watching ESPN earlier today. They do have 4 short weeks, which is it's the most out of any other team. So 4 shortened weeks, which means they're either playing Monday and Sunday or Sunday, Thursday, something like that, less than the normal 7-day rest. Over under 10 wins. What are your thoughts on that, Cam?
Yeah, so looking at their toughest matchups, they got the Saints twice, and I think that's no easy task, as we all know. But the division's not a cakewalk either. The Panthers are going to be a much improved team. They added a lot of offensive talent, and they spent all 7 of their picks in the draft on high-quality defensive players who are going to be ready to play day one. That being said, this is still Tom Brady. This is Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, Cameron Brate, Rob Gronkowski, 2 backs that can get it done. I mean, we're looking at a really quality offense here. I think an offense that you can honestly compare to the 2007 Patriots offense that had Randy Moss and Wes Welker and those guys. I mean, it's different, but it's going to be really, really good. I think I'm going to go over on the 10 for Tampa because I can't remember the last time Brady had less than 10 wins in a season, and now he just has a better offense.
Yeah, I mean, has a chance to be, like you said, his best offense ever. Another Tampa coached by another PA guy, Bruce Arians from York, PA. Bunch of guys in the NFL. They're head coaches from Pennsylvania, especially Eastern
Great
Pennsylvania.
coach, Arians.
Yeah,
Former Steeler guy, former Packer
yeah,
guy. He's been
yeah.
around. He knows how to coach quarterbacks.
Quarterback guru. All right, we got another one. Carolina at 5.5. New coach, Matt Rule from Baylor, State College high school grad, played at Penn State, coached at Penn State, coached at Temple, Baylor, turned Baylor around in 2-3 years. What do you think on that, Cameron?
So, I mean, obviously right now the Panthers have the Saints and the Bucks in their division. And that's, certainly going to be challenging for them over the next year or two here. But let's take a few steps back there. Owner David Tepper just came over this most recent offseason from the Steelers ownership team. He's been around the Rooney family, and he knows how to handle things and get things done. And he did that right away by bringing in Coach Matt Rule. This is a guy that I was extremely high on throughout the whole process. Somebody who I think the New York Giants made a huge mistake not getting to first.
Yeah.
But Rule goes to Carolina, and he's got Tepper as his owner, and they have got a great pair there now. They made great personnel decisions in the offseason, I think, at least by letting Cam Newton go. I mean, I feel like they've kind of gotten everything they could out of Cam at this point.
Distraction,
and if Cam's
too.
going to get a fresh start, he needs to go elsewhere. They bring in a reliable veteran quarterback who's just shown in this past season that he's proven himself yet again after an injury in Teddy Bridgewater. Somebody who I think still has a ton of upside in this league. A rhythm quarterback who can make all the tough throws that is being asked of him.
Yeah. I agree with you
And then you got Robbie Anderson, who comes in to add to a receiving core that already has two pretty quality receivers, in Curtis Samuel and DJ Moore.
Mm-hmm.
And then they lock down the best two-way player in the league on offense, in Christian McCaffrey. I mean, to me, it just seems like they're doing everything right now. And that's all you can ask for a team at this point in the year.
And it
5.5 wins is ridiculous. They got to be over that. They're going to go 8-8 this year, I think.
Yeah.
And candidly, I feel very capable Super Bowl team in the next 5 years here.
Yeah,
given the way they're going to be taking place in the NFL and taking shape here.
That's a hot take. Carolina, Super Bowl champs in the next 5 years. I mean,
building a really quality roster. And, one of my favorite selections in the draft was the second round, the pick, Yetur Gross-Matos out of Penn State.
Dude, that guy's, you know how much I like that guy.
He's had a tough life. He's had a tough life, but, the way he works day in, day out, the length he has on the edge, he's the perfect complement to what they already have on the other side in Brian Burns. And now they got Derek Brown in the middle, clogging and taking on double teams too. Those guys are going to eat on the edge this year for the Panthers.
That D-line is going to be tough, for sure. So, I mean, even with just McCaffrey, you can win 4 or 5 games with just Christian McCaffrey. And they've definitely done stuff to build that defense. And their offense has definitely come along as well. Great coaching staff too. So before we go, guys, want to kind of ask the question, what's your maybe something you want to watch this week, recommend to our viewers? TV show, movie, replay of a sporting event or something.
Like top picks?
Yeah, top picks, something like that.
Right.
I mean, we've gone through all of our streaming services,
Well,
Yeah.
I guess I'll start it off, and I'll preface by saying, if you haven't seen The Sopranos, I'll start off by saying, what are you doing? But also politely say, just get on it.
Yeah.
The worst thing that'll happen is you'll enjoy it. Moving on to top picks, great show from Apple TV right now, Defending Jacob. If you're a Chris Evans fan, he really stepped it up, I think, with his performance. As far as across the entertainment boards, I think Warzone, if you have any history gaming, or even not, in Denny's case, he still ended up enjoying it. It's incredible. If you have a lot of free time and you're tired of just staring at your phone or TV, I guess you're still staring at your TV, but you're actually doing something that takes some strategy, and it's enjoyable. So those are my top picks for this week in quarantine. Anybody else want to take?
Yeah, I mean, I think this, more or less, the weeks are boring. They're very boring. We've outlined some shows that, you should be watching, and, harped upon Warzone and how much fun we've had playing that game. Getting back to the sports world, don't want this to fly under the radar. Tomorrow, the UFC is actually hosting an event, and it's been one of the most anticipated cards in history of the sport, really. Not only just because we've been anticipating sports again, but more so because of the quality of the matchups on the card. You look at Tony Ferguson, somebody that's, done it all in fighting, made weigh-in for the planned fight against Khabib a few weeks back, which was crazy. He's fighting Justin Gaethje tomorrow night. We have Henry Cejudo versus Dominic Cruz. Cruz, one of the best strikers in UFC history, aging a little bit now, as some of the others on the card are, but I think it's going to be a quality fight between Cruz and Cejudo. And you look down the rest of the card briefly here, and you see names like Greg Hardy, former defensive end of the Dallas Cowboys.
God bless him.
Francis Ngannou from Cameroon, who's probably one of the scariest looking human beings on the entire planet. And my point being, you're not going to watch this event tomorrow night and be bored. Lastly, I guess I'll say the fight that I'm probably most looking forward to is Anthony Pettis versus Donald Cerrone. Cowboy Cerrone is one of my favorite fighters. Those elbows, he's just an absolute nut. Somebody that got destroyed by Conor McGregor recently.
I was just gonna say, Denny and I found ourselves drunkenly wandering into a bar. We were walking home actually, and it had been a long, sort of a day long. And we had decided, if we catch the fight, we catch the fight. It seemed like it was never going to start. And obviously, it had been a long day if we couldn't have waited up for this. But we saw that it was starting. And, before we ordered a drink, and before the drink even got to our table, the fight was over. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. And
people paid hundreds of dollars for that shit.
Seriously, I just don't get it. I don't get it.
All right. Well, here's the deal. Tomorrow night, I'm not going to be paying any money to watch it. I have the luxury of the internet and a brain in my head up here. So I'm going to find a code, a URL that I can access to watch the fight for free. And what's cool is that you can just go onto your Xbox browser, I think, depending on which console you have, and watch it in 4K on the stream. And it looks really, really good. So I'll give you guys the link if you can't find it.
It's good to know,
it's going to provide a lot of entertainment heading into the weekend.
Watch stuff illegally. Good to know. Good to know.
Take it easy.
I mean, for me, dude, I don't, me, I'm not very up to date with watching new shit, but that I'm definitely might have to check out that UFC fight tomorrow. Fights, I guess. Dude, but honestly, the other night, Billy Madison was on, and what else is there fucking better than watching Billy Madison? I know Chris is right there with me. Cameron, I'm not sure if you're a big Adam Sandler guy, but
he is.
I'm my favorite's got to be Big Daddy, though. I'm a big Big Daddy.
Oh, that's interesting. I wouldn't have expected that.
Yeah, but so
you're either Gilmore or Madison fan.
Yeah, I thought you were a big Gilmore guy.
Maybe even a Mr. Deeds guy. I could see you being a Mr. Deeds guy.
Big Daddy, Madison, Gilmore in that order.
Happy Madison Productions.
Yo, I'm telling you, 50 First Dates though, underrated. Let me.
Yeah, he has a mystery movie on Netflix.
Terrible, awful. I was disappointed. I just have to say, and I love Jennifer Aniston.
Yeah, dude,
love it.
He's not fun. He's not funny. As funny as
he's not funny on his Netflix movies. There has not been. Yeah, but he's still making some hit movies. Like the Hotel Transylvania, as a total, has grossed 1.5 billion over that. So
what? That cartoon?
That's shocking. That's shocking.
Three of them. Three of them.
Three of them.
One. Yeah, three of them.
Three.
Those numbers. I mean, he's putting numbers on the board, man. It's crazy.
Oh man! All right, boys. Good shit today.
Yeah.
Thanks to our guest.
All right,
Cameron.
Folks. Yeah. Thanks for tuning in, guys. We appreciate any support we can get. This has been episode 1 of the Quarantine Podcasts, and tune in for more Gool Boys. We're gonna try to post probably at least twice a week, and
yeah, for
we'll
sure.
see how that goes. We'll have many more special guests to come, and you'll probably be hearing from Cameron again shortly. So
yeah, he was pretty good.
Boys having me on, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
No problem, brother. Anytime.
All right.
All right, boys. Everybody have Everyone out there, have a good
Be
safe
safe.
weekend. Yeah.
Yep. Be safe.
Get drunk
Healthy.
alone in your basement. It's a lot of fun.
Right.
All right.
All
We're
right,
out.
guys.